Hello, hello, hello.
Okay.
Today is April the 10th, 2025. It's time to hear from Norm Winski once again. Norm, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I was due to go on your show on Tuesday, March the 25th. My internet went out just before we were scheduled to get together. I went ahead and that day, and so if anybody would like to get that, contact me, and I'll be happy to send that to you. And then you'll be able to see that I made the following forecast at March 25. And coming up that week, the night of the 26th, that's AC, after the close, we had the moon north node. If you help with these technical terms, contact me. I'll give you a free class and explain these terms. Anyway, the night of the 26th, we had the moon's north node line up with Neptune. That's all. And again, stocks potentially respond to all these events versus the commodities are narrow filters that only respond to certain planet. Then the afternoon of the 27th, we had Saturn line up with the U.S. natal chart. That's based on where the planets were when the country was founded on July 26th. And anytime we had the U.S. natal chart, we look at stocks, T-bonds, and the U.S. dollar. And because it was to the U.S. Neptune, we also added oil. After night of the 27th, we had Mercury, perigee. Perigee is the closest point to the Earth. And anytime we have a Mercury cycle, we'll look at corn, soybean. And then the weekend of the 28th, we had a solar eclipse, which is a special kind of new moon, but this wasn't just any solar eclipse. We also had the moon every 14 months and multiple years before it lines up with a solar eclipse. So that's a rare event. And for that, anytime we look at financials, grains, precious metals, and oil. Also, over that weekend, we had Neptune changing signs, going from Pisces to Aries every 14 years. That's a 167-year cycle, and 1/12 of that is roughly 14 years. And for that, we had coal, oil, silver, sugar, and wheat. Okay, here are the charts. Here's corn. We had 3 points for corn. We had the 1 point for the Mercury perigee, 7th into the 28th, and you see that we have the low bar for the month there. And then the next day we have near the low, but not on the low, with the solar eclipse signs on Monday morning. That was over Sunday, over the weekend. And if you bought there, I think you'd be pretty happy. You had a chance to make some money. Here's beans. Mercury point, but it did work for the solar eclipse and for a short-term high. And if you could hang in there for one more day of the month. So there we go. Here's wheat. All 3 points worked for wheat. You had the Mercury point and the Neptune and the solar eclipse right there. Okay. Low of the month. You might notice a pattern. Many times I have the low bar of the month or the high bar of the month. And coffee is going sideways. That's a yellow box. Then here we have crude oil. All 4 of our points for oil worked. These bars got, because everything is relative due to the huge moves we've had here. These bars back here all got squished. But usually you'd be happy with making a dollar or two in crude oil for 1,000 or two. This one here, if you about 3, that would have been $3,000. So here's silver going sideways there, but our 2 points here over the 28th weekend were good. And Neptune changing signs. You had a chance to make a little short-term profit there. And gold was the least friendly of the markets, and it just us too there. And then we had S&P went 50-50 on the S&P. Our first 2 points not good. Then we went sideways. Then we went down to here, and it doesn't look that big now, but back then it looked huge with the S&P gapping down 90 handles and then rallying 120 handles 9:45 on Monday the 31st. And then we rallied about 120 handles over the next several hours. And so I think you would have been pretty happy buying there on Monday the 31st. I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about this. I didn't have this on the video forecast, but it was in my letter that we should be making a low. I'll be coming back to that in a few minutes. So T-bonds went down here into our U.S. point and then did not work with the solar eclipse, which I thought was bonds work very well with new moons, full moons, so forth. There's the dollar making a top there on the U.S. point, and the dollar's been getting whacked now. And probably a major high back there on the 27th, and then this did not work here. So if we add up the green arrows and the red arrows, 17 winners, 7 misses, out of 20.83%. Now I'm going to do something, go off something kind of different now, a little mini class here. In my letter, which came out on Sunday night, March the 30th, and then again, I emphasized a couple of cycles that we had over that weekend. I'm going to read it to you now. Looking ahead, ideally, we're coming into a change of trend window. We want to see the market in a strong up or down. Is qualify for a strong downtrend. I was doing that tongue-in-cheek because the market, S&P, as you will see here in a moment, was melting down that Thursday and Friday. Made humor there, right? So there we go. And the S&P closed on its low on Friday. Over the fourth weekend, that's AC, we had Mercury turning direct and also hitting 0 south latitude. That is a rare event. That means we should be on alert for a possible low and a reversal, most likely in the first hour, and that did occur. I think we were down 200 or 300 handles there early on, and then we reversed. Ended up reversing all that. So given the double whammy, Mercury keeping on grains, and I said soybeans, and I said oils. Look at the soybeans real quick, see what happened there. Here's the bean, and then if you bought there, you're very good. Finally, that's a huge move in soybeans. They don't. It's been years since they like moved 50 cents in a few days like that. Well, not so good on the oil. Oil did have a bounce there. So I guess you had a chance to make, oh wow, now that I look at it, 4 handles there, $4,000. And then the S&P, I didn't look at that closely before. And that was huge, a low there. In fact, that's still been the low of the month, So there we go, and now we're going to move ahead. Really spectacular. Yesterday, April the 9th, you might remember that. We were down huge, and then we had a huge reversal, broke many records for the day, and I had that as a GAN math day, and we came down into that day, and I was forecasting a low for the first 5 people to contact me will get a free 5-minute GAN class. And I'll teach you how I did that. It's simple arithmetic. It's coming up in the future. Tonight, we're on the 10th now, the afternoon of the 10th. Tonight we have Saturn lining up with the U.S. chart for stocks, T-bonds, U.S. Ideally, we like to see the market at some extreme into the close. I'm not sure where we're closing, whether we're at the high or the low of the day. Or if we're going to gap down tomorrow. I think there's a downward bias, so I'm going to lean toward that we'll probably make a low tomorrow morning. And weekend, and here's what we have for the weekend. We have a 5-event weekend. That's huge. Jupiter is going to line up with Pluto for. We have a full moon in the sign of Libra, financials, grains, precious metal, oil, sugar, wheat, and we also have Venus for cattle, copper, cotton, oil, sugar, wheat. Keep in mind, stocks potentially respond all these events. It's a 5 cycle. And then also Jupiter 120 to the U.S. moon, U.S. chart, stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar, and the moon's north node going to line up for over 50 years. Started doing it in college, made enough money to buy a membership on the Chicago Board Options Exchange. Did that for 12 years. And if you'd like to learn from me or get some of this information or have me help you, please call me right away. 239-594. 239-594-3939. I will probably be transitioning over to Teams and Skype for. So if you're on Teams, you can call me on Skype at nwinski@yahoo.com. Under the impression that I'll have the same handle, same address. That's also my email address. And looking forward to helping some of your folks there, Jeff.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm looking forward to transferring to Teams because every now and then we couldn't hear what you were saying. But
everybody have a great day and a great week ahead. Thank you very much, Jeff.
Everything was written down. I think people who have the patience to sit through everything got some wonderful information. Norm, we'll see you back in a couple of weeks.